Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the cool.
The cool down.
Oh, there we go.
Down.
Yeah. We've got Matty Wade, who's super stoked with Bale's performance this weekend. We've got Wonga Denga, the Dengasaurus, the fresh haircut, the freshest of them all. And then we've got Selo, who's recovering after a fantastic weekend away. Selo, how's that weekend of yours? You wanna shed some light on that scenario?
No, it was good. One of my mates is moving down to the coast. He's moving down to KZN. He actually left today and he's arrived safely. So we just gave him a bit of a send off as gents. Just a couple of beers, couple of cognacs and bry and all of that stuff. Surprisingly enough, he doesn't drink, but yeah, the rest of us do. So obviously, when we are having a shot and we're like, hey, let's have a shot. He's like, oh, he just fetches water, or a Red Bull, and then we just like, yeah. But yeah, have a good weekend. I'm all good. Didn't watch much football on the weekend. I watched most of Sunday's games though. But yeah, man, it seems like I'm actually the only person who didn't win amongst the four of us. So, man.
Yeah, funny enough, like the three of us were huge beneficiaries of this weekend's results, which was quite good. You guys are quite happy. I see the smiles on my right-hand side there.
Yeah, man. You guys scored goals. You guys all scored goals, man. I think it's something that you guys haven't been doing much. Especially Matt. He's been struggling a bit. Wonga's been up and down. Wonga wins today, loses tomorrow. And then, Claudio, I don't know. But I predicted, we all predicted that Liverpool were going to win, right?
Yeah,
you guys did. But I mean, me being a cautious Liverpool, this is 4 games in a row. I wasn't going to go yes again. I knew eventually, it's like when you're playing roulette or something, eventually, the pattern's going to change. But I wasn't sure if it was this weekend. And yeah, that game against Sheffield felt like it was a Champions League final to me personally. So when we scored, I celebrated it like it was the final. I don't know, Matt. How was your feeling with the whole Bale scenario?
Oh man, it was awesome to see Bale back. I mean, I know we'll chat about it in more detail, but I mean, and first off, let me say, Burnley were very accommodating. They really, if you're going to try to play yourself out of bad form, Burnley, the version of Burnley that rocked up at Spurs this weekend was definitely the right one to do it because they gave us so much space. They were really lax on the ball. But you can only beat the team that's in front of you, and Spurs are really good. It was so amazing to see Bale, Kane, Son all on at the same time, connecting really well. The understanding was there. Bale was back to I haven't seen Bale like that in years. He was phenomenal. And it was just a feel-good result for Spurs. Clean sheet. It was Hugo Lloris's 100th clean sheet in the Premier League, which is a good achievement for him. I think there's a limited number of keepers who've done that. I'm sure one of the stats guys will have the accurate thing. So it's a big achievement for him. So it was a good weekend. Yeah, really, really good. A lot of screaming and shouting. So
yeah.
Very pleased.
Well, that's always fun when you're as a football fan, guys. Marcus Curry is on the line, so give a little shout out to him.
Hey, how's it, Marcus?
Hey, what up, Marcus?
Right, guys, we're going to kick off with the Premier League fixtures. The first one is Man City West Ham. Guys, it's 20 games unbeaten. They're on their road. I think it's 27 in total, apart from Premier League games or something like that. And if they win the next one, I think they break a world record, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but that's what I heard.
No, I think it's because I saw today they got 20, and I think the guy on top, the 20, who was it? I think it's Borussia Dortmund, or am I wrong? But they got 24.
I think the top one is some Irish side.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but they're gonna break. I think if they win tonight, they break the British record, and then the world record is still a couple of games away. But yeah, the British record is tonight. If they win tonight, is a British record.
Yeah, I mean that's a hell of a.
Who did they beat? Who do they beat?
They played
the record. No, I'm saying the record.
It was some like amateur, like semi-pro sort of team. I think, like Matt said, either in Ireland or Wales or something like that along those lines.
Okay, I see.
But the game in particular, the Man City West Ham game, guys, I think it was halftime, still 1-1 West Ham. Pretty much, they gave a go for it, and right at the end, they had a chance where they could have equalized. So I don't know.
What did I say? I said it will be 1-1, and then City will sneak it, will score a second goal and make it 2-1. I just had a feeling that the GOAT, Mikel Antonio, the Messi of London, was going to score a goal. And who provided the assist? Jesse Lingard. I said it. Jesse Lingard has familiarity with doing well at the Etihad. He was going to be a crucial player, and he's the one who actually delivered the cross at the end there, where Diop. Ah man, that was such a poor header, man. I wish it fell to like a serious defender, man. Like I wish Ogbonna was fit, or Dawson was the person who got that header. That would have been a goal if it was Dawson or Ogbonna. But man, I think it was a good game from West Ham. Just unfortunate not to get the draw. But yeah, Man City marches on, and yeah, I think we can give them the title this weekend, like how they're doing with Rangers this weekend.
I think. Fair play to West Ham though. Like you look at the last couple of teams that have gone up against City. You know, I think the Spurs one, the Arsenal one. I mean, Spurs were nowhere. We rolled over and got absolutely smacked. We chatted about the Arsenal one last time, where it was kind of they just seemed not up for it. They really didn't put any effort in. They kind of sat back. But West Ham really went for it. And I think that's what's shown with West Ham the course of the season is they've gone into every single game with the view they look like a team who could win any game. And they showed that again. It wasn't an easy game for City. There were chances. You know, I think on balance, City deserved to win it, but there was definitely West Ham really made a good account of themselves. They're a solid side. They really are looking good. I don't know if I go so far to say it's best in London, but you know, they're not bad.
At the moment, they're top 4. I mean, they're on that 4th spot that everyone's after. So we've got to give it to them right now. But also, guys, Man City, both their centre halves are the guys who scored their goals. So just when you think they've got no strikers and they're struggling, they just find somewhere in the team, someone's going to pop up. Diaz getting one of his goals after all the chances he's had this season. Yeah. He puts one away in that sort of typical fashion that he's come in there, super vocal, super commanding, in charge, and he does the thing. And then John Stones, out of all the players, gets free in the box and manages to pass it in. That's the funny thing is when you say generally if 2 centre halves are going to be scoring, you would assume they would come from set pieces. But they didn't. It was all open play.
No, but it's from it was still from a broken up corner, right? For the John Stones one, because it was a matter of it was being a corner, then it got pushed out, and when it got pushed out, went to a player, then went to Zinchenko, then Zinchenko played it to Morris.
But it wasn't a direct set piece.
When does the set piece end? I guess we need to have more of an academic debate. We trade in facts here. When is it no longer a set piece?
I think third phase.
Cross the halfway line.
Yeah, no, definitely, dude. Third phase, a direct set piece gets swung into the box. If it's 3-4 phases, then it's not, in my opinion. I don't know what you think about that.
But with John Stones, you know, I'm not surprised with John Stones. John Stones is a footballer, so he's always been a footballer. So that finish is not a surprise for me. He's always been a footballer. So you know, if Harry Maguire finished like that, then I'd be surprised. But
question about that though. Harry Maguire, look, I know England's probably going to take both those players as centre halves, but which one would you pick over the other if you had to for England starting lineup?
I think it depends on the game, right? I think it depends on the opposition. They're very different defenders. John Stones is solid he'll bring it out from the back, he'll dribble it forward, he'll bring the midfielders into the game. And I think against weaker opposition, that's the kind of thing England look for. And then if England are playing a stronger team, they might want someone who's just going to, you know, put a foot through it and get rid. And that's where you want someone like Maguire. Also, I think it's side by side. I don't know if you'd ever play those two together because the lack of pace you'd have would be a bit worrying.
But I think is England going to play a back three? If they're playing a back three, then I guess they'll probably play. Oh, I don't know. Will they play Mings as the left-sided? They do Walker as well.
Walker in the back three because we've got so many good right backs. He just packs them around. He puts one at centre back. He puts one on right back. Puts one in midfield. So we get sort of Walker, Alexander-Arnold, Trippier all in the side, shoehorned in as best.
James on the bench.
Alexander-Arnold in that squad, even though he's not playing. That's an interesting call.
I mean, you know.
Hey, Trippier.
I don't know.
Trippier has been banned, so that's the other player who normally.
I forgot.
Let's clear it up. So maybe Walker now finally gets to play right back for England again. It's been so long.
Wait. If Trippier's been banned, he's got time in his hands. Who's trying to get him onto our show? Anyone?
Let's try, man. Let's send him a DM, man. Send him a message there. Say, Trippier. Say, I'm a big fan of yours since your Burnley days.
And we're looking for a betting sponsor. So man, maybe he can hook us up with the right.
Oh, there it
Gonna
goes. Now
pull your
you're
middle
doing it. Well
finger,
done.
Eric.
Well done,
Listen to you
Cloudy. We
guys.
had an actual
Listen to you
plan there.
guys, man. Wow, bro.
All right,
Wow,
guys.
man.
So Man City, West Ham 2-1. Guys, we know you said it's all. Man City is pretty much it's their title. Let's face it, they're going to take it. West Ham, though, realistically moving forward, they're doing well. Are they going to put up a fight for the top 4? Do you see this going all the way to the end for them?
Yeah, look, they will definitely. For me, I feel they'll. I mean, they're there now. Yes. And they're probably tasting it and smelling it. It's close to the end of the season. They'll definitely try. I mean, they'll also think that they're deserving of it because I mean they're there. And I mean putting even like the results against Man City. Man City are obviously the better team, but even to get a goal against them, I think was good on their part. And I mean West Ham are flipping. They're scoring almost every game that they're playing. So they definitely will see themselves as a contender for that top 4. Probably try and I mean if you look, I think they can even go third, even. But I mean obviously the top 4 will be their target now and their aim to sit there and stay there. I think that'll definitely be their aim. They're there now.
Yeah, I think so. I can't dispute that. Selo, do you want to say anything before we move on to the next game?
No, I think I agree with the guys. West Ham are putting their hands up. Let's see what does happen. But I think their aim at the end of the day is to make one of the European slots, whether it's Champions League or Europa League. It comes with some more money attached to it, obviously, which will be good for the club and also a bit of prestige. Something to get the fans excited about. A Thursday night European night. Wednesday night, Tuesday night, whichever side they end up, we can ask Matt how he started to feel about that, in the last since when Poch came, or let's say when Harry Houdini got it. I think Harry was the first guy to get it, with Bale terrorizing on the left hand side. Matt has been a happier person since. So
You didn't know me before then,
Guys, just a shout out to James. James says we finally got one this weekend, boys, and I watched the whole game. Arsenal away. Wonga, share some love there for James. Your boys.
Yes, James. Now we put it in. We did the works. I'll not lie to you. I was very worried in the beginning when with the starting lineup. Looking at the starting lineup, not starting Saka, not starting Aubameyang.
That was
putting on
choice.
Willian.
Bias off on the bench. A lot of people on the bench.
Yeah, and David Luiz on the bench. And if I compared our injury list to Leicester's injury list and the players that we started, you're kind of thinking like, what the heck are we trying to do here? Like I said, and I was telling everyone, I think if you're trying to surprise
sorry, Wonga, but that reaction was based on what current form as to the players? Because if you're looking on paper,
100%.
those players that he started are still quality players. They just probably haven't been hitting the heights that they should be hitting, but they're still quality players. And considering that game that they had on Thursday against Benfica, which went right to the end, those players that played that day, they gave it everything they had. So in the end, I mean, Arteta, you can't argue with the result that he gets here.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with the result. I'm just being honest with you that when I saw I was not 100% for. In fact, I was not for it at all when I saw who was starting and who wasn't. But then again, you consider that they played Thursday, and they got to manage now who's going to come this week. And I think him resting the other guys, it did work out for him in the end. I think Arsenal. I mean, the first goal for me was very worrying. Also, when
defending was poor.
Looking at the lineup. Yeah, looking at the lineup and then you see that first goal, you're thinking it's game over. That defending, and it's that for me. If you look at that, you're like, there surely has to be a lack of communication there because there was Pablo Mari and Al Neni who could have covered Shaka, and they all know Shaka. Shaka was never gonna catch him. Never, ever, 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 ever gonna catch him. They just decided that. Yeah, and if you look at it, so like Pablo Mari, they just run flat. They just run straight back to the keeper. They could have literally run at an angle. Al-Neni covers in, or Al-Neni could have gone there, and Pablo Mari covers in. It was simple, and I think who was there next to Mari? It wasn't David Luiz. It was now who am I forgetting?
Holding.
there was no Holding wasn't playing, and I can't remember now. What the heck? I can't remember the team. But anyways, they could have told him. He could have literally told them to move one player. You know,
No,
one
man,
player.
it was David Luiz. David Luiz
It was
scored the
David
first.
Luiz. He scored.
David
Yeah,
Luiz
and it was
he scored, man.
Was it?
David
Oh yes,
Luiz.
yes, David Luiz did play. Yeah, sorry, yes, sorry. I'm not thinking who was on the bench then.
You know what?
Yeah,
the
the
problem
David
here
Luiz,
is,
Gabriel,
the
I'm
problem
thinking
here is
Brazilian.
you've cut all your hair and you don't like the guy who's got all the hair. That's what's going on here. You just can't remember it.
Yeah.
It's like, because you cut your hair, you
But-
just excluded everyone who's got a lot of hair in your mind.
Yeah.
Nah, look, I mean, but for me, it's. I mean, the I think the result. I think that's what is that was the most important thing for me. And I mean, like Pepe as well. Pepe did play well. I wasn't expecting him to play that well. He did play well, and he was probably the key player at the end of the day who got us that third goal to secure the win. So yeah, big ups to Arsenal for guys who are not on form and they ended up beating Leicester, who are third on the log. I think that's very well done to them, and I just hope they can just form some consistency from this, not lose the next game.
But
Jeez,
but
that's all I hope for.
you're talking about hope here, Wonga. But do you not think there's a sense of belief in the squad now? Pretty much people buying into what Arteta's doing. Guys are kind of going, okay, you don't feel that at all. You don't feel like if they're buying into Arteta.
Look, I saw the goal against Man City, and I saw the goal now against Stig. I think there's still things we need to fix up.
There's a lot you need to fix.
Yeah, geez, we're going to be conceding goals like that every week. I think we must just chill out. I think the potential for us to win is there. To beat sides, it is there. That we can give sides trouble. We can score against them. But if you're going to be leaking goals at the back, then there's problems. So I think, but for me, like I've said from the beginning, the one thing I did like about Arteta's team when he took over is that, and it's something I will not forget, is that we actually look like when you go out there, we actually want to win the game. When who's this guy now? Troopers.
You never remember Emery's name, bro. He must be
Emery.
He's watching the show. He's like, I was your manager for so long.
He forgot about him completely. He's gone. He's
Exactly.
wiped
Like
out.
you passed him in the street, you wouldn't even recognize his face.
He just remembers Wenger, Arteta. I don't remember there was a coach in between.
But yeah,
But don't worry, Matt's here to remind you.
Yeah, I wouldn't let you forget that, Oak. I saw what you guys look like.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, Una was horrible. I mean, in the sense that that's the only thing I didn't like about Una's squad is that yes, we didn't look like we wanted to win. And I mean, teams like Brighton and all of those guys below us, Wolves, look like they wanted to win matches. That's the difference I can see now. But we've got problems we need to fix. That's for sure. 100% sure, Claudia.
Okay. All right, fair enough, guys. The one where there was a lot of controversy on West Brom Brighton. This game, I mean, where do we begin here? Who wants to start? Who wants to kick us off there?
I wish I knew what you're talking about.
So what
VAR
happened now?
stuff. There was a goal.
The
There was a
VAR.
goal scored. It was disallowed. Then it was reinstated, and then it was disallowed again. Is that the order it was? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so what happened was the guy.
Yeah, go ahead, Wonga. Yeah.
Yeah, so the guy, I think he's taking the ref blows a foul he blows a foul. The guy's taking a free kick. Then he blew the whistle for the guy to take the free kick. The guy takes the free kick quickly, scores it, but then the ref blows. And apparently, I think the VAR is the one that disallows.
So they blew because of the quick free kick.
No.
Yes, the referee.
So the ref blows the whistle, saying, you can take. Oopsie. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Matt. Sorry, guys. Ignore that scoreline because it's actually the other way around.
The other way around.
That's what Matt.
That's a typo. Matt's
He wants West Brom to be relegated. That's why.
Yeah.
He wants them analyzed out of a job.
The only one here who's awake is Matt. Yeah, but to the point.
Okay, but I don't know what you guys are talking about. So you guys could have continued.
So the ref blows the whistle.
Listen,
So there's a foul on the edge of the box. The ref blows the whistle, saying, the guy can take the free kick quickly. He realizes that the keeper's still setting up his wall, the ref. So as the guy's taken it, the ball's about to hit the back of the net. The ref quickly blows his whistle again. So now they've scored. Brighton have gone off and they've celebrated like, they've equalized, which is what they did because they were doing well at that point. He then stops. No. He says, no. They go to VAR. He then awards the goal or something. No, he awards the goal. Then they go to VAR. VAR goes, no, the second whistle is officially blown just before the ball crosses the line. So it's no goal.
But like the ball is in the air and it's like,
and it's
like
going
you never
in.
know. Like,
And it's stopped. And
in mid-air, whistle blows. And what VAR is saying is that the balls must know. Like, the whistle has been blown. I must now ignore all physics and drop to the floor in an orderly manner.
Pretty much, that's what happened. But I think, besides everything, you know, and then like the controversy goes back to VAR. But at the end of the day, it was just the ref making a complete howler. He made a complete howler, and I think he's at the back of his mind, he's realized what he's done as he's blown it, and he's gone flip. Guys are going to scrutinize me before this even goes back to the net. So he blows it again to try and like pull it back, and then he's really just cocked the whole situation up. It's shocking.
You can't blame. It's another example where the letter of the law was followed, and because they've got the technology to back it up now, they can say, yeah, the whistle was blown before it crossed the line, so it's actually. And because of now the technology's enabled us to follow that letter of the law so precisely, we've got a situation where all it takes is a human being to look at this to go, that's absolute chaos. There's no way that's how it should have gone down. But we've tied ourselves in this knot where that is what it is. It's just like last season, or was it the season before, wherever it was, where the goal line technology didn't work and Aston Villa got that goal they weren't meant to get or whatever, or didn't concede the goal they were meant to concede. And it's sort of like, you look at it with your own eyes, you're like, but that's crossed the line. And like, but the thing didn't work, so it's out. And it's sort of like technology is supposed to aid humans, not replace us in a completely illogical manner. And I think the Brighton fans, the ones that I saw, I don't follow a lot of them on Twitter, but just the stuff that ended up in my feed was just, the vitriol.
Oh yeah, dude. You're fighting for relegation. Yeah, they're only 3 points above Fulham at the moment. That's a vital point that's not given now. But they lose because of this decision, because the refs made a complete howler. So, and again, then they retake the free kick, I think it was in the end, and they land up missing it. So that doesn't help either. It's like, because you've had a moment. Again, it's all that thing about momentum. When momentum gets interrupted, you distracted, and yeah, it's just. I'm actually coming to the fact that, does the Premier League have the worst officials across the leagues? Because when you're looking at who's worst
at the moment,
South African is the worst.
No, seriously.
Yeah. We're not focusing local. PSL,
Europe.
We don't have refs here.
You asked.
Even the thing is, the Premier League gets scrutinised to a level much higher than any other league. Think about the equivalent game. This is West Brom Brighton. You know, in the PSL, I don't know who's at the bottom of the PSL at the moment, but you go to like Italy, and this is sort of like Torino against Genova. Like, no one's going to be scrutinising the decisions there to that extent, but Premier League, every single decision goes. They go over it with a fine-tooth comb. So I think refs have howlers, no doubt, and this is a very good example of a referee completely losing the plot, and I think that needs to be looked into. But I don't know that there's I think also refs get a hard time. It's a frigging hard job. What they go through and the pressure they're under. Thank God my job's not like that. Like, I don't have that kind of review of every decision I make.
Scrutiny,
I think that kind of that pressure that they are under a lot of it, and we've also got to be, to a certain extent, you've got to give them it's not his fault that VAR does that, and he's like, he knew he'd messed up, but there's nothing he can do about it. Once you're in the machinery, like, he's got to turn around the VAR guys, and the guys sitting in the room are like, look, we can't bend the rules. We can't be like, just because he's made a mistake.
Guys, just in case anyone had any doubts as to what Matt does for a living, he is a UX designer, design lead, so he's very empathetic with the situation and the context. He's able to always see it from the other side.
Human beings,
Put your fan hat on now, Matt. Put your fan hat on.
Look, it didn't happen to Spurs, so I can be easily objective. I have no skin in the game. If it happened in a Spurs game, rest assured,
you'd be livid.
You should have seen me the day back in the day before Red Hat made me a much happier man, when Spurs scored that goal from the halfway line against United, and it was clearly over the line.
Yeah, Carroll.
That was he was basically in the stands, scooping it out of someone's seat, showing it over the line, and that goal wasn't given. I was in a pub watching that game, and I very nearly got asked to leave. So, I can be plenty upset when it affects my own team, but in this one, I can kind of see all sides of the story, and I feel bad for the guy in the middle. Rest assured, I'm sure he won't be reffing next week.
Yeah,
he was. Did you see he was supposed to ref? I think he was meant to be part of the Liverpool the Liverpool game, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
I think it's going to be a fourth. Yeah, it's going to be a fourth official. Is it Lee Mason? His name? I'm not can't remember, but he was
He got
supposed to
injured.
be.
He got injured.
He said, yeah, he said he was injured. That's what. Yeah, injured.
He's
Well,
easy.
they
That
said-
morning, like, oh no, my whistle hand is all off.
Yeah.
And they say,
He said this.
yeah, it hasn't been a while. They said they said they gave something about a stat about the last time a referee was injured. But that's all they put there when they said he was injured. They said he's been injured, first ref to be injured in so many years or something like that. And I was like,
Yeah, he won't be
they,
he won't be reffing the midweek games as well because of
Yeah.
injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys,
a long time.
actually, if you actually think about it, actually these refs had howlers this weekend. Obviously, I didn't see the Saturday games, but the Sunday guys, like, yeah. But we'll
Yeah.
get in my
did you
my
see?
my
Did
match.
you see
but
like the what? Like you know the one I was even like because I can even see they're getting scared now to even call a decision. The guys at the back end because you know I see Arsenal's game
Yeah.
with their handball.
Yeah.
That was clear as daylight. And the ref had to go and check.
the-
And I was like,
to check, yeah.
what is he going to check for? Like that thing was.
But
you know,
exactly.
they've got the
Man United
technology
one, I
now to
understand,
use
but
it
that
for that
one.
kind of reason.
But I mean,
Like for that kind of thing, I don't mind.
But I'm saying like now they're calling the ref now. Why isn't the guy in the back telling him, okay, that's a penalty, man, give it?
No,
He's telling,
because
what I'm trying to say.
because previously we used to complain that VAR had too much power and we didn't give enough
Yeah.
power to the refs. So now that's why they tell the ref go and have a look, so that the ref is the person who's
Yeah.
making the decision. Because that's what we asked for last season. Because last season they
Yeah.
wouldn't go to the monitor. The monitor was used once last season probably, and every other time it's just
Yeah.
like. "Screw,
But
it's
that's
wrong."
only because the dudes that were in that VAR room at the time were making even bigger howlers. That was
True.
the problem. That was the problem.
Yeah.
Where it's like you look at that situation with the Champions League with Chelsea's goal. I thought that was interesting because it was like a situation where the ref goes, okay, I've given this call. I'm now getting clarification, and now it's in their hands because they're seeing everything. Like I get that, and it actually made it somewhat more seamless at the same time. I don't know this. I think it's more frustrating. Like, for example, that Liverpool scenario where the guy runs over there, he's already made up his mind and he hasn't even looked at the screen anywhere, the monitor. So he's completely overruled it. Like that for me, like that's where there's a disconnect. But guys, Newcastle, Wolves, Newcastle get that point at home. Now they're 3 points clear of Fulham. But the point in itself, I don't know if you guys saw the highlights, very interesting one, because they had a chance to win it at the end. So did Wolves, but Newcastle had a chance and they started off quite well. Saint Maximin was doing the thing.
And now he's injured, and Almiron's injured till April. Their two best players are injured till. Wait, actually, three best players, including Wilson, are out till April, guys. Let's write the obituary right now.
We're going to have to start a
give
championship
farewell.
version of this show for next year.
True.
because
As Nick has said before, he's seen this movie, he's seen the script. Was they say he's seen this movie?
Many times.
It's-
This movie many
It's,
times.
it's
Well,
one way
I mean,
to
look at Fulham as well. Fulham are really playing some good football. Scott Parker's found a formula there. He's really that's right.
And
And
they're not
on
losing.
paper, it
They're not
should be
losing.
no competition. On paper, Newcastle should be nowhere near Fulham on the table. But you'd have to, if you were going to bet money now, I'd be far more likely to bet my money on Fulham finishing above Newcastle than the other way around. Regardless of the 3 points, I think that's both those sides are still going to drop a lot of points between now and the end of the season.
Well, guys, if Fulham, hypothetically speaking, say Newcastle get relegated and Fulham, I don't know if you would do this, but go after Callum Wilson. They're mid-table side next season because they're keeping clean sheets. They just don't have a striker.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. No,
That's
definitely. I think that they would benefit from a Callum Wilson, definitely, and what's that new player, Maja, as a second option. And yeah, I mean they got good players, man. And the goalkeeper, he can be shaky sometimes when he parries the balls into traffic, but generally he does make some good saves as well. So they have a good lineup, and that centre back that they have, I think it's from Denmark, is on loan. It's a good centre back, and they've got good midfielders. Just have a good team. And my favorite player, Ademola Lookman, as long as he doesn't take the penalties, he's doing well.
What excites me about Fulham is what used to excite me about Wolves. Wolves used to be the side, and they've always had a decent squad. I mean, you look at Wolves on paper; they've got some solid ballers there, but they've always played to bigger than they are, and
True.
that's something that Nuno has really done well there, is to create a side who step it up every single game, and they've always got something extra. It's kind of gone off the boil a bit this season. They've been a bit lackluster. And so for Newcastle, this was a solid result. But I think because Wolves, they'll probably be kicking themselves. I think this is the kind of result that kind of typifies what's gone wrong with their season this season, is that they would have thought they should be beating Newcastle.
100%.
And I think there's a combination of things. They've lost a couple of key players who were making them tick, and also, Nuno's been there a while now. Maybe that's also played into a bit. He might also be looking for something bigger. Maybe he's ready for a step up.
I think let's look at Wolves, man. Let's look like Jimenez hasn't been there. And again, I think we spoke about this the other day, and Jota as well. And now all of a sudden you got a player like Traore who was benefiting from those two players. And last season, everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's a world beater." All of a sudden, Barcelona were knocking on the door. People were looking at him again. This guy's incredible. Now they've asked him to do a little bit more, and it just shows you how restrictive his game is. A game that's based on pure physicality. Now he's not intricate enough to make certain runs, and they don't have that dynamic up front because they got the young boy who's coming on, coming off. So they haven't found that mix up front, and that's where they're hurting. And at the back, they're not as solid. I've criticized Semedo at right back time and time again. Sometimes Celo says too harshly on my side, but at the end of the day,
too harshly.
But at the end of the day, it's interesting you mentioned Traore, because for me, there's a lot of similarities between Traore's situation and Thiago at Liverpool, where Traore, what we've seen from Traore was that he thrived in a very specific system. When he had the right players around him, making the right runs, he was
three centre backs,
and his impact was huge. Then you look at Thiago when he was at Bayern versus Thiago at Liverpool. He's gone to a side. Liverpool have always, or in recent years, where their success has been coming from, their traffic is coming from the wings and then centrally later. And he's a player who's always played through the middle. And so now we're in a situation where Thiago looks like he isn't that great, but actually he's in a system that isn't the same as what he was playing in at Bayern. And it's going to take time for him to evolve, and maybe Liverpool's going to have to change. Maybe he's not going to be a success there. And I think that's a similar situation with Traore here, where we're seeing a player who's phenomenal in a very specific system and really struggling now that his side, and through stuff beyond his own control, he's being forced to make certain changes. And I think it is interesting. It's something, and you can see it. There's other players we could probably pick out from each of our sides. We could probably pick out a player who we all see as absolutely incredible, but who might struggle outside of of the system that they're in, and might really struggle in.
Well, guys, case in point, Timo Werner. I mean, for Chelsea, had he gone to another side, that player is completely broken. But they say Traore, for example, he's the type of player who needs a hand around the shoulder, and he needs a lot of motivation because he gets into his own head. And they said that throughout his career. But that's an interesting thing to look out for. But big worrying thing, like Celo says.
Do you remember how poor he was at Middlesbrough? Yeah, man. I was like, no end product. I was like, what the flip? This guy just runs, and he's just so big. Yeah. This guy should go do something else. You know what I mean?
Sprint. And then like they say his time that quick. He breaks 10 seconds at 100 meters. Legit.
And then now, obviously, when you see him for Wolves, you're like, wow, man, is this the same player that was? I had to like double check some of the time. I was like, is this the same player at Middlesbrough? Because that guy was just like totally poor, and had no end product. But now he does have an end product, and he was even in the team of the week for one of these websites or whatever. So I think they can do well from here on. Maybe they can re-emerge as a team in the top 10 going forward. But I think obviously Jimenez is the big part.
Yeah.
No, definitely. But guys, you mentioned before we move on to this, Newcastle, no Saint Maximum, no Almiron. Realistically, if you're Nick, he's been shitting in his pants. Now you think he's already made like half the shit in the pants there, because this is how many? There's still quite a few games left. There are quite a few games left, and Fulham, that's 5 games unbeaten, and I think it's actually 6 games. They've won 2, drawn 3. They're just not losing right now, and they can smell it. They can smell the blood. They can pick it up, and they know Newcastle, Brighton, same sort of thing. And Burnley. I think this is the miracle we all need to hope for somehow.
We need to hope that Burnley goes.
Let's hope Spurs. Actually does enough to just derail Burnley.
But I mean, looking at before we go on there, just looking at Nick said, he said that the games they have left over. He named a couple of sides, and he didn't see them picking up points in those games. So now without those players, I think it's a down. I think it's the still of Man United, Arsenal.
Newcastle's next game is West Brom, and then they've got Villa, and then they've got Brighton, then they got Spurs. So actually they're playing teams that are around them in the next two in the next 3 games, West Brom and Brighton. They need to get 4 points from those 6.
But here's the good news though: is Fulham's next 3 games. Fulham's next 3 games are Spurs, Chelsea, and Liverpool. So
Okay.
there's a little bit of light coming through
It's
the
a little
door.
light for Nick. Nick should be a bit bit happier. He just needs to beat West Brom on Sunday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's a big game for them.
Okay,
Make or break
now
whether they stay up.
the one that the lads in London here should be getting excited about. Even Wonga, even though he supports Arsenal, Wonga is a huge Bale fan. So let's hear it. Let's hear it. But we're gonna start before we start with Wonga. Let's hear it from Matt's side because this is his side, and a 4-1 is always lovely.
You know, this was the dream result. Like I said earlier, Burnley really were a very accommodating side. They offered nothing going forward. They were really kind of slow in possession. They were, our defense wasn't hugely tested. Towards the end, they had kind of a couple of chances towards the end of the game where I thought we might end up losing our clean sheet, a couple of corners and that, and where they potentially looked a bit dangerous. But in reality, they never really looked like doing much. And at the same time, they gave us a lot of space at the back. And I know part of that is down to the movement of our front four. I think that Kane, Son, Bale, and Moura were just phenomenal. They were really interchanging really well. They were running into space. They were dragging defenders out of place. It was really good work from them. And the result showed, I think, fully deserved. I think Bale was phenomenal. His finishing was great. His movement was just to a level I haven't seen. And he's had a couple of good games lately, Bale. He's against West Ham. He came on in the second half at West Ham, and although we lost the game, he was a really solid player.
Sorry, Matt, I'm just laughing because the admin guy's getting everything messed up today with the spelling, with the scores. It's drugs. Drugs, Archer. Drugs, Archer. Keep going.
Really, did we misspell Burnley? Who called it this time? Cool. So what did we have it? Did we have it as Brunley?
Burnley. I was like,
it was Burnley, but it switched the E and the L.
The L and the E was switched.
Man.
I told you need to go. It's dyslexia. Anyway. Sorry about that. Keep going.
So, it was, and I agree with Pumlani. I think that the game time was needed, and he's showing he's giving reward for that. And what was interesting as well is towards the end of the game we brought Ali on as well, and he came on. And he had a really good game in Europe as well, was really creating nicely, and he also scored his own goal, obviously that phenomenal bicycle kick. But when he came on in the Burnley game, his role was a bit different. He was kind of more, hold back, control the game more. He wasn't being forced to go forward and create. He was being asked to kind of defend and play some game management. And I think that was really positive as well. So I think all in all, it was a really solid performance for Spurs. Not to make too many big assumptions out of it because it was Burnley. They did play badly. They haven't won at Spurs since the 70s or something. So this was a game you'd expect us to win even on a run of bad form. But I think it showed some really positive signs for that we can build on. I think if we can get Bale back in the game, keep his fitness up, I think we're now seeing a good side of Ali. If we can kind of build on that and give him more opportunities, and also see more and more of Lucas Moura, because I think he hasn't had a good run in the side this season. His movement was really, really good. And what was cool is Son still played well. I mean, he had a fantastic game, but he was quite quiet. You didn't see too much of him, but he was still doing his job. He's creating chances and making them. Obviously, he got 2 assists on the day, and I think But at the same time, what you're seeing is that there's a Spurs side that's more complete in this game. And again, it's easy to say against Burnley. If we can carry that on, I think Fulham will be a more interesting kind of test. That's our next game. And they're going to be up for it. They're going to really push us a bit. They got a draw against us earlier in the season, so I think.
And they're playing at home at Craving Cottage.
Yeah, so it's going to be a tough game. And I think if we can have the same kind of dominance and same kind of, if we can start on the front foot, because I think that's what I noticed it from watching the game. And the habit I've gotten into with watching Spurs lately is I watch in the first half, I find frustrating and annoying, and I'm irritated. It gets to half time and I'm just sort of uneasy. And this was completely different. From the first minute, it was clear we were going to go for this. And if we can have that same energy, like we did towards the beginning of the season as well. And I'm thinking right back, if you think about the United game, which is a blip, you're not going to score 6 against United at Old Trafford very often, if ever. But that game, we went into that game kind of like, we're just going to score all the goals. And if we can have that kind of attitude in more of our games, I think we'll, top four might still be a bridge too far now. We might have let too much of it go, but we could still have a very positive end to the season, which could be good. Because I don't like seeing Spurs lose. It makes me miserable.
What I found interesting is the fact that his formation. Maybe not say his formation, but the personnel that he used. The fact that he had Bale, Lucas Moura, Son, and Kane on the field at the same time, and Ndombele sitting a little bit deeper with Højbjerg. That in itself just showed a different mindset that Jose didn't show in other games. You've got literally four attack-minded players who can interchange in positions, and then obviously you got Ndombele from deeper, who was already playing as your 10, and then that just like having 5 creative players is just a different mindset that Jose is going into a game like that. Cool, it is Burnley. Maybe you can try a thing like that, but then you should, if it does work in a game like Burnley, try it again against Fulham. Try it again against a top 10 team.
Also, but wait. But also, let's. I mean, I hear what you're saying. If you got multiple keys to open one door, why not throw them all and see which one works or unlocks the sort of the goal, so to speak? But in this sort of scenario where you're looking at Burnley coming to the new stadium there, at Spurs Stadium, the field's big, it's wide, and when you've got those sort of players to exploit that space, it's ideal. When you're going to Fulham where it's tight, you need something clever, but you need somewhat players that are going to be industrious, because if they're not tracking their markers, you're going to be in big shit in that sort of scenario. So it's interesting. Would you do the same thing on a smaller pitch, Celo?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should let the players that have the confidence continue in the next game, and if it doesn't work in that game in the first half or whatever, you can make the change at halftime and bring on. Who's the guy they would bring on? They would bring on Sissoko or Harry Winks, and then maybe push up at Ndombele. I think you can try it against, because also Fulham. What do you do is with Fulham? Also, they like to play that 3-4-3 formation, basically a 5-2-3 basically type of formation. Then maybe you can utilize it, and then maybe you can have runners going past. Also, the nice thing that you did see is that with Bale and Kane were interchanging in a lot in that, that almost like number 10 position that Kane likes. Bale can also play in that position because he's also quite a good passer. So actually, you can try different, go out all attack. Let's see how it goes against Fulham. You've got nothing to lose. You're trying to get ahead and try to catch who's number 4 now, West Ham.
Oh, there's 6 points. There's 6 points from 4th spot. 6 points.
We've got a game in hand on a couple of sides above us as well, so it's all to play for.
You've got a game in hand on West Ham. I think it is. You got a game in hand on West Ham. Try fight. You yourselves and Everton are the 2 teams I can see. Fighting some. Okay, and Liverpool. Sorry, I thought Liverpool's already in the race. Liverpool's already in the race.
We're in the mix.
You're already in the mix. So I want to throw in Tottenham and Everton in the mix and say that the current top 8, the top 4.
Well, here's something interesting. So you're throwing in Everton and Spurs, guys. Aston Villa have only played 24 games and then the same amount of points as Spurs. And I know realistically no one's mentioning them, but geez, that's what, 2 games? They're there.
Yeah, look, they've also got some solid players. They've got some real game changers. Ollie Watkins has had a great first season with them, and I think they could arguably be in the mix. I think they'll, and given the nature of this season, why not? They could probably pull it off. I want to go back to something Celo said about Spurs at Fulham, though, and I think what we've shown over the course of the season, we do have players who can control a tight pitch. I'm thinking about particularly Højbjerg. I think he's the kind of player that you want on the field. I was very worried when he went down towards the end of the game with that knock that he took. He seemed to walk it off and be fine. Hopefully it's not something long term, because he's the kind of player who'll probably play through an injury. But hopefully it's not too serious, and he can, because I would like to see him at Fulham. I think where you do get that compact kind of player. I think he'll be important for us if he can turn it around and if he's got Ndombele next to him. Yeah, I think him and Ndombele will be really important to us in the Fulham game. Whoever we have in front of them from the attacking side, I think that as much as it's a more compact pitch or whatever, I think when you've got players in there who are in a good run of form, players like Son and Kane and Bale and Moura, it doesn't matter what pitch you put them on. Those kind of guys, they'll play on the snooker table and they'll score goals. So it's for me, the worry would be more behind it. If we are going forward like that, are we still tight at the back? And that's where I think Højbjerg is going to play an important role, because I feel we're more solid when he's there. I was glad to see Alderweireld get a game out, because I do feel he's a strong head and he keeps him calm. Sanchez is still a little bit young. He lunges in and leaves himself exposed, and I think that potentially could punish us against a side like Fulham, who do kind of, they're going to be doing everything they can to create chances if they do go behind. So I think that'll be important. But yeah, I think it was a solid performance and very positive. And for once, I'm coming out of a Spurs result thinking there's potentially more here. We could pull this off. We could have some fun.
So you're positive, yeah. But before we move on to the next game, does Mourinho win a trophy this season? Yes or no?
Oh, I don't know, because we're in with a huge shout. We're in the final of the cup, Like
it's a yes or no. It's a yes or no. That's what it is.
Of course, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, get in there. Get in there.
We'll win the Carabao Cup and the Europa League. We'll take it all.
Right, settle now. The game, the historic big game on the weekend, the Chelsea Man United game. We can't. Some of us, I think, was it you, Wonga? I know I said 0-0, but was it you also called the draw?
I said 0-0.
Yeah, so we both called it. It was somewhat predictable in terms of we knew how Ole was going to set up. We knew what Chelsea were going to do. And in the end, they cancelled each other out. Overall, your thoughts on this game and the point that Man United take here?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot to say. I think I'll start off with the penalty that wasn't given, which is so shocking. Like I look back at that incident, and I ask myself, how does he not give a penalty when the player's hand is in an unnatural position, and then he gains an advantage by handling the ball, because then it goes in front of him and doesn't go towards Greenwood. It goes away from Greenwood by him just doing that little flick, So I think that part obviously wasn't great, but just in general, the game in itself, no team deserved to win. There was only one big chance in the game created, which was the one that De Gea saved from ZH. I think it was a disappointing game. Disappointing 2 fixtures across the season, 180 minutes, no goals at all between the two teams, which is very bad for teams of the caliber of Man United and Chelsea with the attacking talent that they do have. It was a snooze fest. Quite disappointed in just the performance of both teams. I think neither of the teams wanted to win. You can see with Chelsea bringing in a N'Golo Kante into the match. That shows, those are quite a lot of clips that they actually showed on Monday. I was watching on Sky Sports, where Warnock, Liverpool's former defender. So he often on Mondays he's the guy who's on, and I quite like his analysis.
By the way, I think I could try an angle and get that guy on our show. By the way, just so
that'd be great. That'd be great. That'd be great. But yeah, I like his analysis, and he showed a couple of clips where Kante's job was just to make sure that Bruno Fernandes didn't get the ball, or when he did get the ball, make it difficult for him to make the next pass. And they showed a lot of clips where Kante, I think they showed probably like 4 or 5 clips where Kante was either blocked the pass to get to Bruno, or was close by to Bruno when he does get the ball. Don't give him space, and then when Bruno does get past Kante, they'll double up, and then you'd see a Kovacic close by as well. So we kind of stifled each other. But Solskjaer's finally the English media is waking up to something that I've said and other United fans have said in terms of the setting up of Maguire, Lindelof, Fred, and McTominay. That setup in itself does not promote an attacking mindset. You know what I mean? You have those two defensive mids trying to protect the center backs, and then the right back.
It's crazy that you spent 85 million, or how much it was, on 80 million pounds on Harry Maguire, but you need to double up with 2 defensive centre halves,
exactly. And then the right back and left back don't go forward much. So you got so much protection for this centre back partnership, whereas you should, have one defensive mid and a good centre back partner where you can, at least have another person in the midfield who can help Bruno Fernandes, who can try and be attack minded.
Everything you're saying makes sense on paper, technically, right? But if we're looking at the results, at the end of the day, points are points, and he hasn't lost again, and he's second on the log. I know it's quite tight and it's somewhat misleading, but they've made an improvement from last season in terms of points tally. Yes, man.
But also, I was gonna say, like, look, I mean, as a United fan, you're gonna know better than me, whether or not they could have done more. But if you'd been offered a draw before the game, a guaranteed point, you probably would have taken it. I think this is a good result for United. Chelsea have been on the up. They've been showing positive form. Tuchel's got that new manager bounce. He's taken away the Hawaiian shirts and disco balls, and they're playing some solid ball. And in that regard, I think it's a solid result for United. And in that way, you kind of got to say that the game management is quite smart from Solskjaer. Maybe it was boring, but I mean, back in his day when he was at Chelsea, Mourinho won leagues by parking buses and getting boring away results like this. So, to that extent, maybe it's a. You want more sexy. As United, you're the kind of club that wants to go for it, go away to Chelsea and go for all 3 points. But how annoyed would you have been if he'd set up attacking and then you guys had just been turned around and especially if he's deployed Kante to kind of block Fernandes, you're not able to create anything, and then you've left yourself open at the back and you end up losing 3-0. That would have been horrendous.
You know what I wanted, at least for Mendy to make a good save, like a good save like that De Gea made. De Gea made a save where he was going one way and just put his right hand and then it saved. Something I can say, hey man, Joe, that was actually a good shot, but the keeper made a good save. Just one chance I can say something like that. Whereas all the other chances were just regulation opportunities. Cool. Greenwood had a nice opportunity, but it was like a half chance. Just one. You know what I mean? I don't want to be feeling like I'm watching Jose Mourinho at Man United all over again. I want to feel like at least just one. Just it's not too much to ask for. You know what I mean? Where the opposing goalkeeper gets the man of the match. The man of the match at the end of the day was De Gea because De Gea made one good save. You know what I mean? And because no one else in the field did anything above average except De Gea with the save.
Yeah, look, I mean, watching the game, I think even after Paul Scholes, he said it right. I mean, they asked Tuchel after the game when they interviewed him. He said that it was a quality match, but Paul Scholes disagreed with him. He said there was definitely no quality in there, and I think why they said that. Of course, he went and he said that I said, look, I mean, both sides, they didn't offer quality. And I mean, yes, what Celo's saying is that his side also, they didn't threaten the goal. And if one had to look at the game, you'd say that Chelsea was the better side because they were always there most of the time, they were Man United's final third, but they couldn't really get a goal. And Man United, on the other hand, I think Man United had the better chances to win the game. And I would say there was no quality because you'd expect Man United, given the position and the players that they had, when they broke away, I think it was 3 times. The last time, which was in the 80th, sometime between the 80th and 90th minute, when
90th minute, yeah.
That pass was easy. You pop it over, put on if you couldn't call it, just pop it over into the space, and you had 2 people versus the goalkeeper. So I think in that sense, I honestly feel that. Yeah, so Solskjaer in that sense, I think he literally, if you're looking at it, you could say that he did set up to win the game, but also he also was trying to push not to lose the game as well.
I think he set up not to lose. He didn't set up to
lose.
No, well, he was. I think it's trying to win. He was just banking on that one chance, and he was banking on that penalty appeal. He was there was always going to be that moment for them in that game. You know what I mean? There was always going to be that moment.
But they had the bit, like for me, they had. It was just the pass that let them down. There's even one that went to Rashford that Bruno Fernandes hit to Rashford. If he had put it right in front of him, Rashford would have been on goal.
So
for me, if that's how they're winning, you can win a game like that. They should have won.
No. In tight games, right? There's always these moments that you feel that, okay, cool. If we had done this better, we would have won, or we would have done this. I feel in the other games it's a bit different, right? Where Cavani misses an open goal against Arsenal. You've actually created the chance, and it's just your finishing. You know what I mean? Whereas in this game, it wasn't the finishing; it was the creation of chances. Do you understand? So if you get in the chances, like Cavani did, or that Pogba and Bruno got against Liverpool, those are chances.
But based on what Wanga was saying, the passes, and then based on what you're saying, the chances created. Then what is your opinion in terms of his starting lineup, having Mason Greenwood and James and Rashford leading the line with Fernandes behind him? Do you think that is somewhere where you've gone with the youngsters for industry, But at the end of the day, maybe it's affected the quality in the final third and restricted you to somewhat having chances.
No, it's okay. I think I don't mind the lineup. Martial has been off form, so I think the players that are on form, that have shown a bit more in the other games, were the ones who deserve to start. They're the ones who played in Sociedad's first leg and obviously won that game 4-0. They're the ones who started that game. So in that instance, I have no problem with the starting lineup. They're the guys who've been playing well. So yeah. So that's that. You can't fault him for his for up front. But you can fault him on his substitutions as well. You know what I mean? McTominay only trained on Saturday and we played Sunday. Why are you only making one sub at 75th minute? You know what I mean? Whereas Chelsea made 3 subs, they tried to do something different. They tried to just change up the game. Whereas Solskjaer always does the same thing. He plays the players that his best friends, you know what I mean? The guys he trusts, but also the guys he trusts are the guys who are not gonna do something different. You know what I mean? You know, you put in a Donny van de Beek in the 75th minute together with Martial. At least then you're trying to do something different. Try change personnel. Try change tactics. Do either or. But if you just gonna bring on Martial for Greenwood, which is a like for like, then where else are we gonna just try to do something? Maybe try and nick it at the end. You know what I mean? Cool. Yes, the final ball from McTominay wasn't great, but I think you left a bit fried. A little frustrated and saying, what if? You know what I mean? Cool. Clean sheets are great, guys. But if you really want to win a title, you need to win some of these big games. Even if you just win 2 out of the 5 or 6 that we've drawn, then that's not too bad.
Yeah.
But also to counter that, opposing teams play differently against Man United. The big 6 teams play differently against Man United. So you've seen Pep played with a Rodri and a Fernandinho against Man United at Old Trafford because he's scared of our counter-attack. You know what I mean? So already now, it's not like last season where we beat City twice and we drew against Liverpool and beat other teams twice. You know what I mean? And we won at Stamford Bridge and we won at Old Trafford. You know what I mean? Against Chelsea. So already now there's a different mindset that the other teams are going against because they know our counter-attack is one of the best. Now they're already being cautious, and you can see defensive minded players are playing and everything, and then you being cautious, and it's almost like a jab for jab type of thing in those games, which ends up looking like Man United's not trying to win, but also if you look at the opposition's also not trying to go for it.
Matt, you wanted to say something.
Well, I was just wondering, I mean, is it perhaps not also a hint that United have become over-reliant on Fernandes as a creative outlet? If he has an off day or if he has a game like this where Chelsea's obviously identified him as a threat and starts to really block him out of the game, then it seems like United are struggling to find someone else to be that creative force. And I think the debate about who sits in front of him becomes moot because he's not doing his job and there's nobody else stepping up in the midfield who's going to be the creative and make something happen. And
between Fred,
similar issues where people have said that we.
But exactly what you're saying. You've got
we miss Pogba. We miss Pogba. That's a fact.
Yeah,
but in
true.
Yeah, that's true.
Because at least with Pogba as a pivot, at least he can make a pass. You know what I mean? Whereas.
Yeah,
and also there's I just obviously I don't want to bombard you guys with too much United information, but there's actually an analysis where it shows that the positions that Bruno Fernandes receives the ball, where it's Pogba playing in the midfield as opposed to when it's McFred playing in the pivot, right? And the positions that Bruno gets it are higher up the field when Pogba's playing, and then when it's McFred, when it's McFred, it's a bit shorter, but also a bit more to the left type of thing. So he almost like tries to gravitate towards a bit to the left because I think he maybe prefers a pass from Fred than McTominay. Whereas for Pogba, it's all across the front, but it's higher up, and it just shows that already now he feels that he can't get the ball in the positions that he wants to get the ball. Now he comes a bit deeper to try and get it to feet, and but I think that.
But then why aren't they playing? But then why aren't they playing Van de Beek? because he would offer them something different, right? Like
Hey,
surely.
man, I wish
100%.
I knew the answer. I wish I knew the
You
answer.
see what he was doing at Ajax, and you just think, where is that guy? Where's that player? What have they done with him? It's like, for me, it's like the Aubameyang thing again, like where they've swapped him with a lookalike, and because
Hey, man.
and I mean, fair play, he's only getting bit parts now, but I think like they've robbed us of this amazing player.
Yeah,
and
'cause
it's such a shame.
It is a shame, and you just have to ask: is it that players take time to adjust, but then also a player is only given a game in you remember what we said about players who get a game in the FA Cup? They get a game in the FA Cup, but they haven't been playing for the last 3 weeks. And when they do come on as a sub, they come on for the last 10 minutes. Bale won't be doing well if he doesn't get a game and starts a game. He started a game in the Premier League, started a game in Europe during the week. 2 consecutive games Bale started. At least he can build up momentum, build up match fitness. Donny van de Beek will come on tomorrow for 15 minutes and then won't see anything against City.
Where would you play him right now to fit him into the side? If
play him ahead of McTominay or Fred. Choose one. Choose whichever one you wanna prefer to use as a defensive shield. But then at least with Donny van de Beek, at least going forward, he can at least give you something. He can at least give you a pass. He can at least give you some intelligence in terms of making runs. Cool. McTominay scored goals this season, but McTominay is he used to be a striker. So McTominay can finish, right? He used to be a striker, but he's not.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So yeah, he used to be a striker. So he scored 7 goals. He scored 7 goals this season, and it shows in his finishing that he can actually put his foot through the ball. But the passing element is lacking, so he doesn't have assists because that passing element is lacking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got industry, he's got work rate, he's got everything, you know what I mean? And then if the ball is at the edge of the area, give him an opportunity to shoot, he shoots it well, you know what I mean? But just the passing, man. So
that's why they're doubling him up, hoping someone else can assist him. That's the issue here. That's the biggest issue. But guys,
Amen.
The one game, the Sheffield United Liverpool game, the one that I was telling you early on, it felt like a big
upset,
I mean, you joke.
Biggest upset.
But guys, you joke. We had Adrian in goal. Okay, we had Adrian in goal. Obviously, Alisson's got back for his father's funeral. We've got freaking the two. What is interesting was you mentioned Thiago. You've been not playing to his strengths, and he's being found out because he's being asked to do a job of him that's not used to, which is fair enough. But in this game, rather, they've actually changed things up a little bit, and they had him sitting next to Wijnaldum, playing the role that he is comfortable in, getting the ball in the middle and dictating the game. And we saw one of his better performances for Liverpool, which made a huge difference. Obviously, they were doubling up on our centre-backs, so there was a lot more support from Trent and Robinson supporting the two guys, and that made a huge difference. Not that we were significantly sound at the back by any means. I mean, Sheffield got in once or twice, they did the thing. But at the end of the day, Mane moving more centrally was also the difference. And Firmino, for his poor sort of like efforts at goal, I mean, we could have been 2-0 up first off if it was one of those scenarios.
But Firmino didn't get a goal. He does an own goal. That shows he was missing the shot.
But did you see what he did to create that space? Did you guys all see it? Did any of you see it?
But the question
I tried to watch the game,
the part I'm asking is that people were all celebrating, like Bobby finally scores. Oh yes, Bobby Firmino, and then what happens? It's an own goal. I felt bad for the guy because I was like, hey man, this guy's needed a goal. He's been crying out for a goal, like how Timo Werner is crying out for a goal, but it's an own goal.
The thing is with Firmino, it's always like every time someone tells me about Firmino, they tell me like, did you see this? Like you have to watch him so carefully to know that he's a good player.
That's true.
Like you've got to be like, did you see that run? Did you see that run?
Did you see how he created the space?
It's like how far back in time must we go? Like did you see how he tied his laces? Did you see how polite he was to the ground?
Did you see how he pressed the defender? Did you see how he created the space for Bale?
I can't wait. You know what? I can't wait for the show to end. I can't wait for the show to end and you guys actually go see the highlight and see what he's done. Sure, the thing deflects and it's not given to him, but he picks up the ball, he beats 1 or 2 guys, he gets the 1-2, and he's surrounded by 3 players and he creates that space for himself. Not many players can do that. And when you guys go see the highlight, then you're going to be like, oh, okay, then we'll see. But no, it wasn't his goal.
I don't know, but isn't that similar to what
Curtis
Bale
Jones.
did this weekend? But Bale also scored 2 goals. So I don't know, like, you know.
No, it's not. It's not the same at all, dude. If you got to compare Bale and you got to compare Firmino in those sort of tight spaces, you must just see him move his body. You must just see it, and then we'll talk.
Oh, now I must watch him dance. Like, what else does he bring to the party? Like, is he driving the bus after the game? Does he drive the team bus as well? Just like, I can do it all. I'm Bobby Firmino.
Oh man, I love it. Bobby. But no, it was a well taken goal from Jones.
It was a good result, man. It was a good result.
And the first goal
So
was
you
well
saw
taken.
Jones's goal. You just didn't see how he set up. How Firmino didn't set up the second one, eh? So you saw the Jones goal.
No, I just mentioned the fact that Firmino shot was off target and ended up being an goal.
But you saw the goal.
No, I just was too focused on the fact that I was happy. I was happy for a guy who's loved on this show.
All right, no, it's fair. So you got your Man United.
He did well to create the space for himself. I won't lie. He faked to shoot for once, and I think faked to shoot twice, and then obviously finally got the shot away. You know, so which was good because obviously the defender was already on the floor, and then that whole thing, great space. I think also the first half he had a great run where it almost like Mane went for a ball with the defender, and then obviously it went off someone, and then he went into space, and I expected him to do better because he's very good on a one-on-one situation like that with a goalkeeper because he's very clever. Either he goes past the goalkeeper or he chips it. You know what I mean? Obviously, but this time Ramsdale.
But that's one of those Timo Werner situations, where the confidence is low because you haven't been scoring. You tend to overthink it. But they even put Salah through in the game with like that sort of L2 sort of pass through ball, which is phenomenal. But one of the best players for Liverpool was Curtis Jones. Now, Curtis Jones, when he was playing at the academy, he used to play number 10. And people raved about him in that sort of position. So when you had Gini and you had Thiago sitting deeper, they allowed him to pretty much go roam the pitch. And he looked fantastic when he was playing. He obviously came off. But I know it's just Sheffield at the end of the day. But after a 4-game losing streak, it's a big one when we're leading up to the Chelsea game on Thursday. And when you are, you 1 point behind Chelsea, which means this Thursday game is bigger than what any of us expected, which is going to be interesting. Good test from a Tuchel's perspective. I mean, if we lose at the end of the day, it's going to be a big loss for us. But it's not one where we're going to go like, it's all doom and gloom because of the situation we're in. If you're Tuchel and you lose this one, and you don't land up top 4 end of the season, what happens with him and Roman Abramovich and the Marina come end of the season and go, your key performance index, my boy, it was meant to be top 4. What's happening here? And this is the game you lost.
Yeah.
So maybe that works in our favor. I don't know what you guys think.
Frank, you can just say, hey man, Frank with these Hawaiian shirts wasn't doing the business. I came here, I bought in fresh white shirts for these guys to wear. Look,
polo neck. Seems like a polo neck type of dude.
It is a polo neck.
like a blazer, but a polo neck.
You're actually right. He does look like one of those guys. That is true. He does.
Yeah.
Also, guys, I don't know if you heard
someone with a scruffy collar. He's like a.
Well, I don't know if you guys heard about this whole Jota thing. So Jota is fit enough to make an appearance on the weekend. He's had his first full week of training. And then on the day of the game, he's ruled out for being sick. Apparently appendicitis, some are saying. So, I mean, that's also one of those things where you're going, yes, we've got someone to bring off the bench, and then suddenly, bam, like, no, the oak's not ready yet.
Oh, yeah.
So that's,
I heard he was ready, so I was wondering why he didn't start.
Clubs go through these sick note phases. Remember, Arsenal had it for a while, where it was during Mourinho's last few years, where it was like it didn't matter what they did differently. There was always 6 players injured. It didn't matter. And it was, 100%. And it seems like Liverpool are in that phase now. It's like you just can't catch a break. Like someone's going to come off, someone's going to get hurt. It must be terrifying every game. Only person who seems to make it through is Firmino because he just dances out the way of danger.
No, guys, the only player who's come out completely unscathed this whole season is the one that they don't want to give a new contract to. And this is also why we're getting the results that we get. Gini Van Haldem has been carrying this midfield for the whole season. They're not giving him a new contract,
guys,
but then they expect
give him what he wants because Barcelona.
But they're expecting the guy to still do the thing.
Barcelona won't sign him because Koeman is not even sure he'll be the manager. So rather give him what he wants because his options will be not limited, but I guess he's a free agent.
Where does he go?
Right?
I think there's talk about Inter, if not Barcelona. But I mean, does he really want to go there? And this is the thing: is this player is really giving you everything. And then they're going, no, he's 29, he's turning 30. He's one of, if we're looking at our top 7 performers in the league or in the team, he's like on 8th on that list in terms of what he's earning. So he's not even in the same sort of bracket, which is, you're thinking about the shit that he does. You're going, flip, like, why aren't you giving this? Just look at the season and
give
what
him,
we
give
get
him a
out of it.
3-year,
But isn't
give him a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
But isn't this the Moneyball thing, guys? You know, we talk about
Yeah,
Liverpool being a
100%.
family club.
Family.
Liverpool's not a family club. Liverpool is run by the Moneyball
100%.
guys, and they don't see Wijnaldum as the way the fans do. Like, he's go out there and he'll die on the field for you guys. But they're like, no, that's
He's
a
a
29-year-old player. We don't give 29-year-old players 3-year contracts. Sorry, buddy, you're out on your And like that's the problem with Moneyball. Like, it'll win you leagues every 3 or 4 seasons, but it'll also do things like this. You also then got to wonder, like, why is Milner still there? The dude's like 47. Like, what does he have on them?
No, well, he hasn't touched a drop of
something on
alcohol
them.
for one. What is that?
He's got something on them, clearly. Something, clearly.
Yeah,
No,
He's
he's
got-
just
he knows. He knows
He
where the
brings-
skeletons are buried.
no, guys. He brings a lot to the team sort of dressing room and the atmosphere as a professional and everything else that he does. And he's also
brings
if
it
he
to
has-
the pitch.
You know, what is this with all of these players who do these things you can never see at Liverpool? Firmino's dancing, Milner's bringing everybody a cupcake after the game.
Since the Spurs
Ronaldo's
won one
out
game.
there
They would have one
dying
game
on the
by 4
field for
goals.
you
Bale
every
and
week,
finally
but you're going to give the dude who's quite nice to everyone in the change room another contract. But
Okay, so
Ronaldo,
this
he
is
can
what
go because all he does is play good football.
I actually cannot, like, I'm trying to picture Spurs winning a trophy. And if this is you guys winning 4-0 against Burnley and you're getting loud, imagine you winning a trophy. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be
I'm
insane.
insufferable. I'll
They'll
be
be
insufferable.
they'll be so unbearable, man. Like,
Yeah.
but also
I feel
but
bad for you
also
guys. I really do.
also we don't want
Luckily,
City
it'll
to win
never
4
happen,
titles.
so you'll never
We don't
find
want-
out.
We don't want City to win 4 titles. But I don't even know who's worse, man. Why didn't Brentford beat you guys so they could win the cup? Flip, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, okay. But guys, just to bring it back to the sort of Liverpool context and the Chelsea thing, one thing I found very interesting was Chelsea with Tuchel not starting Timo Werner. Werner literally coming out as a striker, having a one-on-one interview going, yes, no, my confidence is low. Yes, no, I'm struggling. Yes, no. Like, for a player to come out saying, you'd never, like a couple of seasons ago, a player would never admit that. They would never own that up and say, now he's going, yes, yeah, no, the manager talking German to me does make a difference. And you're just thinking to yourself, what is going on here as a footballer? You know what I mean?
Did you
like
say this
he-
in
Yeah,
Did you say this in English?
In
How's-
clear
how's his
English.
English? How's
Beautiful
his
English.
guys?
Good English. Very good. I just
Yeah,
think,
his
you know,
English is good.
if he had
Yeah.
come to Liverpool, it would have been a great fit for him. He would have been sort of, but obviously £50 million is always going to be overpriced. But just think about it. Liverpool, back up, he can ease into it. Now, we wouldn't be expecting a lot off of him. Could have eased his way. German manager and Klopp, if that's such a big thing for him. And also playing more to his strengths, where it's all about pace, speed, and being direct. Chelsea, especially with now Tuchel, that's not what they're doing. They're doing all this
Position-based.
build-up player. Yeah, all this build-up plans. They're not playing to his strengths. So you also again
Wonga's-
scratching it. Kai Havertz not playing. Timo Werner not playing. All the money that they spent on these two players. Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I think, yeah. Listen, Tuchel has a big problem, bruh, in that they've got too many players. He started ZH. I couldn't believe that ZH was starting this game. You know what I mean? And also he wasn't even playing in his best position. You know what I mean? Because ZH is a 4-3-3 player or a 4-2-3-1 player. On the right hand side, cut in, cross. You know what I mean? Now he's playing ZH as a I don't even know what that formation is called, guys, because they play with Mount and ZH right behind Giroud, and I don't even know what that formation is called, because then obviously they got wing backs, and
The
it's just
Christmas
it's
tree,
just
though.
oh yeah, you're actually all right. It actually is a Christmas tree because it obviously comes from what's his guy,
It's got a
Kante
keeper,
Kovacic.
he's the stump of the
Kante-
tree,
Kante-
and then there's
Kante
defense.
Kovacic.
Is Giroud then the angel at the top of the tree? Or I'm confused.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like
that's why he
Giroud's
always
at the
does
top.
that, you know.
Okay.
And then you know, it's just crazy. So you're playing people out of position, and then your best players. Oh man, I think Tuchel just needs this international break. He needs all his players not to go on the international break. I know it's impossible, but he needs all of them not to go on international break,
Yeah,
and so
they're
then
all
they can work on their play for 10 days and say, okay, cool, this is how we should play as a team. This is my best team. This is my starting lineup, because he started Chilwell. After Chilwell, he started for a while, and then just you have got too many players. Kepa's going to start probably on Thursday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean,
But I don't blame him
Imagine the
because
new manager at Chelsea. Chelsea has like 300 players on the books at any one time. Like, it must be so stressful. You go there as a new manager learning these names. Like, I reckon sometimes he doesn't know who he's putting on, you know? Just like, he's got this mound of files and files of papers. He just wraps it up around it. Yeah, Chilwell, you're on today. You know, what position do you play? You know, have a go.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
I
true.
think-
It's true. They've
for
got
me,
too many. You're right, Matt.
I think, like,
Yeah.
for me, I don't blame him in that sense because, he's come there and he's got tons of players there. Like we've always said, they've got 2 full squads there. And now he has to try and work out something. I mean, he has to try and find out what combinations are working. He's got the training sessions, do a try out in the match, see how they perform in the match, see how they are in training. Of course, he's going to be given a bit of maybe data from before and look at that, but he has to work out things himself. So I don't blame him in that sense. And also, if you look at it, he hasn't, if I'm mistaken, he hasn't lost a game yet. He's been getting quite a few
hasn't.
wins. He's getting positive results, especially out of the guys that weren't playing before, like your Alonso's, coming back and looking like they haven't been out the squad for as long as they have been out. So yeah, I think for me it's understandable in terms of looking at all these players switching and moving around and all that stuff. That's from my point of view.
All right, fair enough. And I think we're going to speak a lot more about this on Thursday show before or for the build-up of the Liverpool-Chelsea game. So be sure to come back and listen to us talk about that. Final thoughts before we leave, guys?
No, nothing much. Nothing much.
No.
I can't
pretty
stop
much-
thinking about those Polonicks. I just think, and I think it's combined probably with, you know, those dudes who wear loafers with no socks. I reckon that's how they're all rocking at Chelsea. And I think that must be a big change for the players. You know, they were rocking their Hawaiian shirts, it's all a bit laid back. Yeah, and now they're like super formal. The dudes are all like, where are my friggin' socks? Like, I think we need to really investigate. Most needs to offer some explanation about what's going on in the Chelsea wardrobe.
I probably can find a picture of Thomas Tuchel wearing a polo neck.
100%.
Because I've seen him wear a polo neck. He is right.
I feel like I've also seen him, but I can't remember. But
He's
I've
just
also
a
seen
bad
him.
look about him.
For a player, I mean, that's huge. A change of style on the pitch, off the pitch, it all adds up at the end of the day. If you're not sure what to wear, you're not sure how to kick a ball, what shoes you're kicking them with. I mean, it also plays a mind on your sponsors and everything else, you know. So it's a big deal. Plays in the part of the brand. But thank you for that, Matt. Also, something, guys, look out for. We're going to get Hawaiian shirts made for Goal Lounge for the crew. And it seems like the second thing is underneath those Hawaiian shirts, we're going to have polo necks.
I don't know if I can pull off a polo neck. I'm already, you know, I've got a very delicate kind of reputation to uphold. I'm going to have to think about it.
All right, so
look at this. Look at this, man. I gotta see if I can pull this off properly. Yeah, let's share screen. What am I sharing? Application window. Oh, where is it?
Everyone just hang on as Cyril talks us through the process of him trying to
consummate professionalism. Yeah, please tell us how to use the internet.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, where are you sharing it? No one sees it. We've got 4 people waiting in anticipation, including
Oh,
ourselves.
where am I, man?
That's 7 of us really waiting for this picture. Better be worth the wait.
Okay.
Because...
Okay. Are you
I
looking?
haven't seen it.
Are you
He's not
looking,
wearing
guys?
a polo neck.
Okay, hang on. Hang on. There we go.
Podcast
Hey!
loading.
Oh my word!
Yeah, boy.
Is that really Thomas Tuchel? Are you sure that's not like?
That
Are you
is,
sure that's
guys.
not the bad guy from a spy movie?
I was about
It
to
is,
say,
guys.
it's not the bad guy in some-
It looks
We've
like a
been
bad
expecting
It's a
him
one hell of
to
a
Bond.
villain.
Yo,
Like that looks like that villain on
Oh, man,
was
Cloudy.
it
Look at that, guys.
Casino Royale. He looks
yeah,
like
boy,
that villain.
007 villain, this guy. 100%.
Yeah, Casino Royale.
Guys,
Definitely.
that's him, guys.
Hey,
That's
that
him.
must have scared the crap out of all the English players when he came to Chelsea like that.
He probably landed like that, guys, because obviously it's like a bit cold. He probably landed, and obviously he went from the plane to the training ground. He probably landed and he said, "Hi, guys," whatever, greeted them. Like, oh, what's going on, guys?
No,
Like,
dude, they saw, you know what? In their minds, they were like, no, Frank
But he wasn't
Lampard.
just like, "Hi guys."
No. Yeah. No. Frank Lampard is 007 and he came
That's a
in,
good
took
one.
him
I
out.
like that. I can see a lot of scope for. Yeah, exactly. Like the first thing they probably saw was him dragging Lampard's body out the training ground.
nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Also, the funny thing is, Timo Werner going, yes, it's nice having a German-speaking coach, but it's not nice when the German-speaking coach is swearing at you in German, saying, "Hey, get better, bro." Like that just doesn't help. Anyway.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and on that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate everyone who's come through. We hope you've had as much fun as Celo has, mocking and somewhat Matt mocking Firmino. Yeah, and remember, if you don't know what to be,
I'm mocking you, Cloudy.
Be cool.
Be cool. But be. Bruh.
Be
be cool.